Latto's name usually makes entertainment headlines because of her music, but over the past several months, a different storyline has taken over: her transition into motherhood. Recently, outlets including The Shade Room picked up a post showing Latto and her newborn daughter on a beach, both dressed in coordinated Burberry pieces, under a headline calling them beach babes and describing tropical twinning vibes. Before unpacking that specific post, it's worth walking through how Latto's motherhood journey actually unfolded, because that context is what gives a simple beach photo its emotional weight. And because it explains why this particular image is getting the attention it is. Latto, born Alyssa Michelle Stevens, is from Atlanta and first entered the public eye through the reality competition series The Rap Game, produced by Jermaine Dupri and Queen Latifah, where she competed under the name Miss Mulatto and won the show's inaugural season. Notably, she turned down the recording contract that came with that win, choosing instead to build her career independently. She later rebranded as Latto and broke into the mainstream with Big Energy, a single that reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, earned triple platinum certification, and landed a Grammy nomination for its live performance. Her catalog since then includes a chart-topping guest verse on Jungkook's 7 and a Cardi-assisted remix of Put It On Da Floor Again. Her career has included 2 BET Awards, a Beat Hip Hop Award, a Billboard Music Award, and 2 Grammy nominations, establishing her as one of the more consistent hitmakers to come out of Atlanta's rap scene in recent years. Against that professional backdrop, her relationship with rapper 21 Savage, confirmed in September 2025, came as something of a surprise to fans, since both artists had kept their personal lives fairly private up to that point. It's worth noting that this wasn't Latto's first time in gossip headlines unrelated to her music. Public records show she was arrested in 2019 after being mistaken for another woman during a theft investigation, an episode she addressed directly through a song asserting her innocence. In 2021, she was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport after being found with a loaded firearm, and in 2023, she was pulled over in Atlanta for running a red light. These are documented, verifiable incidents, not rumors, and they form part of the wider public record around her, though none of them bear direct and the current story about her daughter. They do help explain why any development in her personal life tends to draw heavy media attention. In March 2026, Latto announced her pregnancy, and she did so through the music video for Business and Personal, rather than a traditional social media statement, a detail that's confirmed simply because it was her own official release. In May 2026, she shared a personal visual trailer that strongly suggested she had already given birth, though the full confirmation came when her 4th studio album, Big Mama, dropped on May 29, 2026. Through that album, Latto confirmed that she and 21 Savage had welcomed their first child together, a daughter. This is not secondhand information pieced together from rumors. It came directly from the artist's own musical statement, which tends to be about as reliable a source as celebrity news gets. What's notable is how she chose to make the announcement. On an interlude titled Daddy's Girl, Latto worked her emotions about the arrival into the lyrics themselves. On another track, Mama, she went further, describing how her daughter resembles her father in appearance, but carries her own curls and dimple. She repeated and expanded on this detail in a later interview with Essence, telling interviewer Monica that everybody tells her the baby looks like 21 Savage, while she herself contributed the curls and the dimple. She also joked about her daughter already showing signs of talking back, and mentioned that her own father had predicted the child would be karma for how difficult Latto herself had been growing up. That's a verified public statement corroborated by Complex's reporting on the same interview, so it can be treated as confirmed rather than speculative. There's an additional layer worth understanding here. This is not 21 Savage's first child. He already has 2 sons with his former partner, Kiana Joseph, along with a daughter from an earlier relationship. That means The daughter he shares with Latto is his fourth child overall. This detail is also part of verified reporting, and it helps explain why public reaction to Latto's motherhood moments tends to run so emotional. For Latto, this is her first child, while for 21 Savage, it fits into an already established family structure that fans have followed for years across his own public life. The path to motherhood hasn't been presented as purely celebratory either. On the day Big Mama was released, Latto spoke with Apple Music's Nadeska Alexis and brought up postpartum depression directly, saying she was struggling emotionally that particular day. She'd made suggesting the album might be her retirement project, explaining that the statement had come out of that difficult headspace. This context matters because it shows that celebrity motherhood isn't confined to glossy photos and matching outfits. There's a real, disclosed, emotional dimension behind it, one that Latto herself chose to put on the record rather than something inferred by outside sources. Because it's her own statement, it's reasonable to treat it as confirmed fact rather than tabloid conjecture. It also complicates any narrative that frames her public appearances, since giving birth as uncomplicated joy. By her own account, the picture is more layered than that. Turning to the specific story currently circulating, the matching Burberry beach photos, some clarity is needed. The Shade Room's headline confirms that such a post exists, showing Latto and her daughter in coordinated Burberry looks in a tropical setting. That headline appears in the sidebar of several other Shade Room articles, which indicates it's a genuine, recently published piece, dating to around June 2026. However, the full body of that specific article, exact date, location, or any captions Latto may have written herself, isn't something that could be independently verified in researching this piece. So it needs to be stated plainly. The finer details of this particular beach shoot, such as precisely where and when it happened, remain unconfirmed at this point and shouldn't be presented as settled fact. Anyone reporting a specific location, a specific caption, or a specific occasion tied to this shoot should be treated with some skepticism until a primary source is available. What is worth examining is the broader pattern this fits into. Celebrity mothers dressing their children in matching designer pieces for beach or vacation photos. This isn't unique to Latto. Luxury houses like Burberry routinely design children's pieces meant to mirror their women's summer lines, including coordinated check pattern swimwear, precisely so that mother and child looks can match without much effort. Burberry's own product marketing highlights this overlap directly, positioning certain girls' swimwear styles as intentionally matching its adult women's collection. It's also a commercial reality that when a high-profile celebrity shares a photo of herself and her child wearing matching luxury pieces, the brand benefits from that exposure organically, whether or not money changed hands. This is part of a wider industry shift. Fashion. Analysts and marketers have increasingly noted that Mommy and Me content performs well on social platforms because it combines two things. Audiences respond to strongly aspirational luxury and unscripted family intimacy without requiring the polish of a traditional ad campaign. That said, there's no confirmed record of any formal partnership or sponsorship arrangement between Latto and Burberry specifically. If such a deal existed, it would typically be announced separately and officially, likely with a press release or a coordinated campaign rollout, rather than a casual beach photo. As it stands, what's visible looks like a personal styling choice rather than a business arrangement. But that distinction matters, so fans aren't left assuming a partnership that hasn't actually been confirmed. Drawing a line between organic celebrity styling and paid brand placement is one of the more common blind spots in entertainment coverage, and it's worth being precise about here rather than blurring the two. Latto's relationship with fashion has been a consistent thread throughout her career regardless. She's built visibility through collaborations with both luxury and streetwear labels before. For instance, her collaboration with Body by Raven Tracy, which produced a Jamaican flag-inspired matching set tied to the release of her single, Somebody. Tracy explained that the set was directly inspired by Latto shooting her music video on a beach in Jamaica, and that the two had been discussing a collaboration for some time before finally carving out the schedule to make it happen. That was a confirmed business collaboration, with details shared directly by the designer herself. That gives useful context. Latto has, at times, deliberately tied her personal moments, music releases, vacations, into her broader fashion and brand identity. But that doesn't mean every appearance follows that same commercial logic, and this particular beach post shouldn't automatically be assumed to be one of them. Social media's response to this kind of content also tends to follow a fairly predictable pattern, something that was visible in Latto's own earlier motherhood posts. When she first shared photos of her daughter in May 2026, Instagram commenters responded with a wave of emotional messages. Some said seeing her step into motherhood moved them. Others praised what they read as strong maternal instincts, and several noted they had long expected her to be a girl mom based on her public persona. Reactions are verifiable because they came directly from public Instagram comments, subsequently reported by outlets including The Shade Room. If the newer beach photos are generating a similar wave of reaction, that wouldn't be surprising, but there's no verified record of the specific comments or engagement on this particular post, so no individual reaction should be invented or presented as confirmed here. This is a distinction that matters in entertainment journalism generally. It's easy to assume a follow-up post generated the same response as the last one, but that has to actually be checked rather than assumed. From a career standpoint, the release of Big Mama marked a genuinely personal and professional turning point for Latto. It's widely regarded as her most personal project to date, openly addressing her pregnancy, her relationship, and her early experience of motherhood. The album also carried a heavyweight list of features: Jelly Roll, Doja Cat, Sexy Red, Glorilla, Mariah the Scientist, Tiana Taylor, 21 Savage himself, Odile, and Wizkid. That roster suggests her standing and relationships within the industry remain strong.